Hey y'all, it's me again, Joey.
Well, ready to let them loose?
Yep, that's it. Let's see if they make us run.
Oh,
Probably so.
yeah, that one tried to get after him, but other than that, what can you expect? I mean, can you blame him? Oh yeah, they're getting after us now. Go, Joey, go!
Hey man!
Hey man, buddy. I'm gonna get in the truck. You gotta go back and get your camera.
But also, just get as many as you can off the one next to it. Get out.
You gotta move forward.
Do that side again. Y'all ready? Let's get started. Well, hello everybody over there in the chat. Hope everybody over there is doing good tonight. This is March 15th. Everybody ought to be splitting bees down this way somewhere. How you doing, Mr. JW?
I'm good, thank you.
Did y'all get any of that weather?
No, we didn't. Right here, we had the straight winds. I had a guy call me down the road, kind of a beginner beekeeper type of guy. They blowed over a couple hives. We had some straight wind last night, pretty strong. Now around the metropolitan area of St. Louis, they had a couple touchdowns out there. It didn't get Tom or Matt Ransbottom, but it was pretty close to both of them, you know. So a few people died out in that area.
Yeah, I've been seeing some tragedies on the news. What little bit I got to watch today. I didn't hear of anything. The closest thing was the town of Franklinton, about 7 miles away. I think that it I don't know if it actually touched down or just got real close there at the airport. They had they showed a picture, a friend of mine showed a picture of a couple buildings that were kind of demolished. And then where Russell Amon comes on here all the time. They had a tornado there where he's at in Tylertown. That's about a 30-minute ride from me.
Have you talked to Russell? Do you know?
He texted earlier about it. Let's see. Somebody else had text too, I think. Had 2 tornadoes touch down in his area. One of them was 4 miles away. What amazes me, I said it on here one time when we were having bad weather during one of my chats, and I said our chats, and I was talking about how it could touch down 2 miles away, and you may not even know it here. And next day, it actually had happened pretty much about the same time I had said that. It took a roof off of a person's building.
Well, I'm right here in Tornado Alley. You know, we get that all the time. But you can see, you know, in my case, you can usually see trash in the air for, you know, across some of these big fields for miles around. But, but we haven't had one real close. I think it's been 3 years since I've had one real close. One come right south of my place 3 years ago. I picked up three flatbed wagon loads of barn roofing material and barn siding and that kind of stuff up out of my fields, you know. No, I don't have a shelter, John. I just ride them out. Try to outrun them. My luck may run out one of these days, though.
Let's see who all we got in here. If I can read them quick enough. It's not jumping so bad right now. Excuse me. 21st Bees, Randy, Tar Heel Beekeeper. Got Mr. JW in here, Mike Tangway. I'm here. Miss Beehive and Mike, Keith Spillman, Tom back at Apiary Bees.
Darren out there in Pennsylvania, he's on here or was, and
Bondi. You seen Darren, you said?
Yeah, Rick there.
Dan Weaver, Peabody Apiary. Ben Smith. Smith, how you say it?
He down there with St. Louis. He's down there with Tom.
Dean. Man, my eyes is blurring up.
And you got that trash guy out there in California. You know, he's way out there on the very far end of the dirty side out there. He's trying to get on here.
Yeah, I see Darren.
Hey, Dean.
West Cliff Honey Company, John. Collector Rick's Honeybees. Yes, Todd. Hope Sadler.
You better get on here if you're not eating or cooking there.
He needs to learn how to get on here while he's cooking.
You need to get on here so I can aggravate you again.
Yeah, I think I covered everybody. I'm not sure.
I
usually can't read it quick enough. It jumps too fast.
Have you done any of that splitting yet, Joey?
I split all but, well, let me just say this. I split 26 of my double deeps. I had a couple that I didn't split because they wasn't strong enough or big enough or whatever. They looked good. They just wasn't ready to split. And I had one or two double deeps that I just don't know about them. I might take a sale and requeen them. And I got one at the house here, the one on that little back porch.
Yeah.
I got to split it.
Are you using double screens on all of them?
So far, just about every one of us been double screened.
Do you have full screens, Joe, or you just got holes in them? Most of mine, I just got holes in them. I didn't. You know, Jeff put that one out there a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Over at the Abbey.
I've got probably 8 or 10 of the ones that's full screen.
Mm-hmm.
I built them 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I always try to use them first. And I got the rest of them I have, probably about 20. It's plywood with just a 2-inch or 2 7/8, 2 3/4, whatever it is.
1, 2, 3, or just the one hole?
Two holes. And
I can't tell any difference. Can you in the full screens and the?
They work just as good or better to me.
Yeah.
And they're easier to build.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I save them to last, and this is why. Not that they're any different, but they got that 1x1 strip all the way around the top of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives, it's actually 3/4. That way, if you find some frames with swarm cells on the bottom, you can throw that in there and not damage that swarm cell. Where the old ones don't have a rise in there. They're just flat. So you're going to squash a swarm cell.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got some bottoms. There's 2 or 3 of the bottoms. I think I showed one of them to Tom on here one time. They're not, it's a screen bottom, but they're sealed all the way around. It's a 2x4. So I can take a piece of the screen and just lay on top of a box and then lay that bottom on that. And it's just like a double screen board.
Yeah.
I've done that before too.
Yeah, Brian, everybody's got them hats, but the old timer, by gosh, and I never hear a word about ever getting one of them Flower Street hats.
There's
Dennis. I'm gonna start knocking them down when I get on the air.
Just run over him and steal his hat off his head. That way, you won't even. If you run over him, you done took his attention away from everything else. Kind of like pickpocketing.
Gotcha. Yeah, everybody's got one of them hats for forestry, but the old master, now I get ignored. I'm used to it. Everybody, oh, no, I didn't. Sorry. If I did, I lost it and forgot. But I don't think I got one. I don't think I
No,
got
no, no.
one.
Don't tell me you said all that and you're going to go find it one day.
Mm.
Digging around in a suitcase or a bag, and there it is.
Mm.
Oh, I forgot to mention, I guess everybody can see it. The link is pinned. Anybody wants to come in?
I've got some, Brian, if you're not busy, check that link out. I got some questions for you on some of this cream stuff. You're my mentor. I'm telling everybody if it's bad, why you taught me how to do it.
You selling much of it yet?
You know I am. Everybody that tastes it buys it. It's just not in my area. You know, people don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I said out. I did find out one thing. You got to keep it cool.
Well, you know what? That jar, where's that jar at? Let's see. Well, all these have been right here in this 72-degree area.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't changed. It's actually a little bit more firm than I prefer. I like it a little bit softer.
I had, I've got that little table set up out there at the farm. I just sell it, honor system. And I set two of them out there. Lord, it was 81 here yesterday. And I went out there and it was starting to separate a little bit at the bottom of the jar. So I took them out and put them back in the refrigerator.
See Russell Koopman coming in.
Northern Russell.
Hey.
He may still have snow flying up there. I think they're getting snow up in their places. In places, I don't know if it's where Russell is or not.
Yeah.
Let's hope. No. But anyway, so did you have a few swarm cells? Have you been back in and knocked anything?
Hey, Grammy. I hadn't saw any. I saw a few cups on the bottom, but I hadn't saw anything charged yet. I actually, about a week or so ago, I thought it might have been me, but I called a commercial guy. I talked to Mike. He says, yeah, we're a little bit behind. Then I called a commercial guy he's actually just a couple of miles from my prison yard.
Mm-hmm.
And he said we're nearly 3 whole weeks behind compared to on our average. Last year we was 2 weeks ahead. This year we're 3 weeks behind where our average is. Cause
believe it or not, Joey, I'm the same tit for tat. I figured that I'm about 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks behind everything here this year over what it was last year. And believe it or not, I haven't seen the dandelion here yet, which is it's usually the first thing to come in some yards and stuff, so I haven't seen one yet here.
All the trees, all the timber, it's still just as brown up in the woods as it can be. I mean, there's not a whole lot happening.
Yeah, I'm starting to see a few buds. Well, I've got my red maple's full bloom right now. It blowed several of them. That heavy rain. We had a real hard rain and blowed hard. It blowed some of the bloom off last night, but not enough to affect anything. I've got some my magnolias up here is blooming.
Yeah.
Magnolia got some henbit, dead nettle, whatever. In the fields, it's just now starting to bloom out. So,
but most of my yards have. I try to set them up with 4 or 5 on the out yards, and that's as big as I want to get with my little out yards.
Yeah.
The prison yard it's 8, and it's got room for more than that. But I decided I'd go ahead. If I'm gonna drive out there at all, I'm gonna go ahead and do 8 out there. But my main yard here is 20 plus, and I put divider boards in everything out there yesterday, and everything was fine until I got pretty much to I found I even videoed this. I drive through that bee yard at least once every day
Mm-hmm.
because I go up there, I make rounds around my mini storage, check all the doors on it. Then I go through the bee yard looking around, make sure everything's okay. I've done it every day since last fall. And when I got ready to split, the last double deep on the front line, when I got to it, it had a queen excluder in it.
You left it from last year?
Left it from last year. And I couldn't even remember doing it, but after the fact, I kind of remember putting it in there. It was actually a full single deep. And I said, I'm just going to set that on top. I had, I think 4 or 5 drawn out comb, and I put those empty drawn out comb up above that queen excluder and put plastic in between everything. Well, about that time is when all the flow just shut down. So I haven't even thought about that colony again. And they had them fat. I couldn't even get none of it out. And and they didn't do anything to the plastic. And I actually had to I was tearing it up, breaking honey, and I started getting robin going. I just took that whole top that was on above that, took it and put it about 50 yards away, and let the robber bees was tearing it up. That way I could finish the hive, what I needed to do with it. And she had a lot of frames laid up in that bottom. She's going to be a good queen, I think, if I can keep her from swarming. But I figured if anything was going to be trying to swarm, it would be her because she didn't have nowhere in the top to go.
Yeah.
But anyway, I dealt with that one. It's kind of embarrassing. I may put that video out, and I may not. That may be one I hold for wintertime.
You know, I don't know. Did you watch them boys Wednesday nights? Greg Burns and Bruce over there on their StreamYard deal with me.
I didn't get to watch this Wednesday. I missed a few here. Let's see, Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan.
That's Jonathan.
James.
Yeah. Hey, Jonathan.
Got Jay in here.
Keith.
Who else I miss?
Did you get Keith Spellman? He's on there.
Yeah, I said hey to Keith.
Anyway, Wednesday night I was the 10th of March. I was going through stuff and I had my only 2-week hives. I must have made him mad. He left us. You're muted. Okay,
I'm listening to you. I was dumping.
I thought I made you
mad. Dump ice. I didn't want to hear drunk.
Anyway, I had 2-week hives that just had real small clusters, and I was getting ready to break them down and going to just scatter them out, and I found a queen in both hives. One of them was I'd marked green last year, and one of them, it was last year's queen, but I'd marked her white. That was the only thing I had with it. And I found both of those colonies. Both of them just had about a fistful of cluster with them. And I was getting ready to scatter them out and just let them forget about it. And I decided I took a 5-frame nuke and I put them 2 clusters and the queens in that 5-frame nuke. And I was up this morning, believe it or not, I went in there and I put a fondant patty on the top of them for something for them to eat, and I'd give them, food on the outside of them. And they're still alive. The 2 queens,
yeah,
they're still alive, and them bees are breaking pollen and stuff. They're working. I don't know. I don't know how long they're going to last, but they haven't killed one of them yet.
Hey, Dot.
What's that thing? Looks sleepy-eyed. He must have slept all day.
What's up, Tom?
I just got out of the shower.
Okay. You should get back in. You did get to sleep for 4 hours.
Your hair looks better, more groomed than mine does.
Yeah.
See, look at me. I even brushed it. Got out of the shower and brushed my hair.
He's got a certified cowlick. He looks the same all the time, I think.
I just brush it the same way. Usually I just wear a hat. It's easy.
You're still down at the lake. That ain't your house, so you must still be at the lake.
Yeah. You'll never guess where we were just right before this.
Yeah, I'm sure I know where you were.
I bet it was somewhere to eat.
That's what you did. That's all you did.
That's
I
right.
can tell you where there was.
We stayed
Eating.
close.
Let me tell y'all, this really ain't nothing, but this is the first for me. I eat at Waffle House a lot, especially in my travels, because it's fast.
Mhm.
You know, especially the good breakfast. But when we went to set the camper up Thursday night, I decided before I come back home, because the girls and all, the wife and the girls are staying in the camper in Biloxi for that competition that they're in. She said, "You want to go eat somewhere?" I said, "Yeah, we'd go." She said, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "Let's just do Waffle House." She said, "That's fine." A lot of times I'll get the All-Star and save the waffle for later. So she said, "How you want your eggs?" I said, "Fried over medium." And she said, "If you get fried, they have to be over well." And I didn't want to argue with her. I said, "Okay." This little young girl. I said, "Okay, that's fine." Because anytime I order over medium, they usually make them a little too runny anyway. So I said, that'll be fine. This sucker, I've never seen 2 eggs cooked so well. They were cooked they were harder than a waffle. That was the worst Waffle House meal I ever had in my life. I know that don't mean nothing to y'all, but that's just weird to me that the little girl would say, if it get fried over, it's got to be over well. I grew up, it was over easy, over medium well, and well done. So I don't know what they cooked.
I used to go to restaurants quite frequently when I was younger. Yeah, I'd order, eggs. She said, "How you want them?" I said, "Raw." That bring it to me and just down them, They just shake their heads. Yeah, Jeremy's been out on the late shift. He knows all about them 3 a.m. Waffle House. Yeah, we've all been there, Jeremy. All except Tom. He never gets out late like that. He never did honky tonk.
Yeah.
I have to stay cooped up. Melissa needs a lot of supervision.
All the right words, but I think they're in the wrong place about who needs supervision.
Easy now. We're supposed to be buddies, Joey. And we're part of the He-Man Woman Haters Club here, right, JW?
Hey. Well, Tom, you been in bees any?
No, sir. Well, I was last week. Thursday, I guess it was. I was in. Yeah. I went through. I didn't quite get through 2 of them. We were. Me and my sons had some drainage work we had to finish up, and a little bit of landscaping stuff. And then I went straight from there. When those guys got off, I went out and got in a couple of bee yards and started looking through them. And one of the, let's see, I had 20. Let me think about this. I wrote all this stuff down so I could document everything that I had. Doubles, singles, single nukes, double nukes. And I wrote all this down, and I put on there what my losses were. And I pulled all those boxes out of the yard. I scraped them, all the frames down, and got everything. I kind of prep everything and set the boxes out, kind of stand them up on end just outside so that the rain wouldn't get into the the combs and such, because I have a lot of combs I can use for splits and such. But the all the colonies that I got into were actually really good. I think there was one yard I lost 5 out of, and I think there was 26 in there. I think it was. I think overall, when I'm looking at counting, so the biggest area that I took the most loss in, because this would be mostly the second time I've been in the bees in all the counties this year. Once was at the end of February. This was another time, seeing kind of where they're at. And they're all brooding up pretty good, looking really good and strong. And hopefully everything looks continues to look amazing so we can make a lot of splits on these colonies. But the one area that I failed on was my nukes. I had pretty good loss on the nucleus colonies, and particularly anything that was small. It just couldn't overwinter this extreme cold that we had in January and February. And I think if I'd have done a little bit better job at keeping them colonies fed and building those numbers for those late season splits that I made, I think I'd have had better overwintering success. But
how many nukes do you usually try to raise every over winter?
Well, this was the first year that I tried overwintering a bunch of singles, because I made some later season splits than I had normally had before. And these were all done sometime, I think, the middle to later part of June. And unfortunately, when we hit that dearth, there wasn't much, and they were losing weight. And what I should have done is I should have gone out and I should have started feeding them, but I was still in the mix of trying to get honey off at that time and put treatments down. That was my focus that I was working on. And I should have paid a little bit closer attention to them, because they were doing okay, but they didn't get the growth that I should have been having to get, big, thicker colonies in those 5-frame boxes. And unfortunately, I think if we would have had a quote unquote normal winter in Missouri, I think that they probably would have had a lot better success, because to date, honestly, I've had like well over 90% success in taking nucleus colonies into winter with no issues. But we had a bitter January, and February wasn't a lot better. My fault, operator error, beekeeper, I should have planned for the worst, and I didn't. I kind of took it for granted, and here I lost a bunch of them. So I think by the time I add everything together in all my yards, I'm going to be somewhere at about a 30% loss, which is about 11% more than I experienced last year. And so I can usually stay around that 20%, sometimes a little bit less, but
you might want to look at, if you keep having that issue every winter, you might want to look at using double screen boards and set the nukes on top of a double deep colony.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. And honestly, Joey, I think if I would have, and I still have a bunch that I'm going to finish building when I get back this next week. I'm going to the lumber yard to finish those up, because I'm wax dipping here this next coming weekend. So I have to have them done. But I'm going to utilize those this coming one. Don't even say it, old man. Just keep your mouth shut. I know what you're thinking. Do not open your mouth.
Hey, Johnny Creek.
He'll have something sarcastic to say. I know where he's going to go with this.
Hey, Nancy.
Hey, Nancy, how are you?
I get what I don't pay attention. I miss people coming in.
That's Miss Nancy Tasker out there in PA.
I saw some. There they are. Hey, Tim and Hannah.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Hannah, how are you?
So Ben, I didn't know that you said Vimmer Farm, to tell you to go to the old Vimmer Farm. I've never been out there before, and so we started that bee yard up June of last year. All those colonies got moved from Fenton, Missouri, and they got moved out there to Union, Missouri, out there your direction. And honestly, I didn't even remember the name of the roads. I just went out there once, and I just remember the directions. But anyway, I had to go search it out through Union to figure out where those were at. But Ben actually went out and checked on the Union yard for me today, or I guess this morning. I spoke to him last night. He did it this morning, I think, and said those all looked pretty good. So I appreciate you doing that for me, Ben. It means a lot. But apparently all those worked out pretty good. So they didn't take any wind damage or tornado damage or whatever. So honestly, knock on wood, we dodged a bullet on that, because that tornado that ran through the Villa Ridge, Gray Summit area. That was about a half a mile from my shop right there, that tornado ran through. And then it curved around toward my house, but it probably missed my house by maybe a mile or so, maybe not quite, maybe 3/4 of a mile, but a little bit further. So we dodged a bullet. And I'm pretty sure I had some people saying, "Hey, what can I do? How can I help you out?" And then some people, even the people we kept bees at their places, they're like, "Hey, I'll go check on the bees and look at them." And they said, "Nope, no lids are blowing off. Everything looks good." So my boys were headed back home tonight to go check on the last two. So far, no lids blew off, no colonies blew over. There was no destruction in those areas. So we dodged a bullet on that one. So I'm thankful. All the bees look good. My house survived, and so did the equipment at the shop.
That's good.
I believe there was at least 7 or 9 confirmed tornadoes that hit in Missouri that touched down all throughout the entire state. And there was a bunch of them out toward the St. Louis area. I think there was a number of them. Well over half of them hit out in the St. Louis area.
There's another string of them down there south, around from West Plains across there past Corey's place. Looked to me like.
Oh, was there?
Storm Chasers was out down there. They one of them weather channels I was watching. They looked like it started about West Plains and went almost clear across there. So,
really?
I don't know. Nobody's heard from Corey. I don't know. He might have.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him.
He got his line if it went that far east, but it started about West Plains, I think, and went east from there. Looked to be like.
Yeah. Well, those storms reached out across the entire state and got into the southern part. And when we came out of that play last night down in Branson, Missouri, I was looking at the radar, and those storm cells were nasty, dark colored. And ironically, they actually split right around us where we were at. There wasn't hardly a drop of rain here at their house down here, and we barely caught any inclement weather down here whatsoever. So they dodged a bullet down here, but unfortunately, there's a lot of areas that did get hit with tornado activity as well as wind issues and stuff. There's a lot of broken stuff up around us. So when I get back, we'll have our hands full.
Yeah.
Well, it don't look like anybody wants to come in.
You made everybody mad. Probably Tom did.
Yeah.
But nobody. I couldn't have made anyone mad because I'm such a nice fella. Had to be one of you two.
How many thousands of dollars of honey did you sell today off your table?
I was bragging at you about yesterday. Mm-hmm. I didn't sell a drop today.
You should have just kept your mouth shut and remained humble. You'd have sold.
Yeah. That dust come in here. I don't think that had anything to do with it. That dust come in here, and it rained. That rain settled that dust. I guess I couldn't tell it on my truck after that rain started, and it was that old Texas red clay is what I'd say it was.
Oh yeah. Yep. Out of Texas and Oklahoma, blew all the way up here it's still covering those cars out there.
But after that rain, it either blew on through past us or nothing. It actually cleared up, and actually the sun popped out here.
Oh, really?
This afternoon, I was out there in that bee house. I finished all them hive stands up that I was telling you about when we was talking on the phone. So,
gun line, we had a tornado touchdown in the little town of Franklinton near me. I don't know just what damage it did. I saw some pictures at the airport where it took a couple of little buildings down. And where little Tylertown in Mississippi, just kind of north of me, where Russell Almond is, he had 2 come down, touchdown in Tylertown. One of them's like 4 miles from Russell's house.
Yes. Melissa was asking if Franklinton was where your bee club was at.
Yep, that's it.
So
the airport's actually on the opposite side of town from there.
And that happened today or this morning?
Today. It was just I only know, maybe 4 hours ago.
Did
Big
it really
Mike
tear?
up there, he's snowmobiling.
Did it tear a lot of stuff up?
I know it tore 2 buildings down. They showed those pictures. I don't know what other damage. They could have been one over here close to me on the other side of my place, and I probably wouldn't have knew it. But hey, Michael.
Big Mike, get snowmobile into his hunting camp, I guess, up in Vermont. Wow.
Well, if somebody don't come in and give us something to talk about or debate, it's going to be a short chat.
Let's see. What's a good topic?
Talk about the weather.
Yeah.
That's what we can talk about. Snowmobile and a t-shirt.
Well, hold on. Let me ask you this, JW, and then Joey. Of the colonies that you guys were in most recently, what would you say the average count of brood frames did you all see in your colonies?
Honestly, I'd say 2 or 3 at the most to catch mine right now.
Okay.
I don't have a lot. I didn't have a lot of brood that I've seen. You know, and I haven't seen one drone, period.
Mm-hmm.
And very few drone cells. Very few.
I'm going to say an average of 8, maybe 9.
Wow.
And what I've looked at.
Yeah, you are definitely in front of us as far as the amount of brood frames. I've been seeing anywhere between 3 and 4.
Like I said before you come on here, we're actually 3 weeks behind.
No kidding.
Buckeye Tom.
Hey everyone, just call me Max. We don't mess up with Tom.
Yeah.
There.
Mac, Tom. I would say we're seeing somewhere between 3 and 4, and not every colony, JW, but I would say 60 to 70% of them. I am seeing some drone brood in, but not a lot.
But I imagine your bees probably, lay up a little faster than mine. Like I said, most of my stock is a little bit Caucasian and Carney influence, so they usually.
Yeah, we definitely have more Italian influence within our colonies.
Yeah.
I would say if I wasn't trying to raise bees to build nukes, I would go with that Carney stock as well.
Yeah.
Italians
they're just more frugal. In my opinion, they're just more frugal. They don't take near as much feed and stuff. That's the only reason I'm not into the commercial part of it.
Yeah.
I just kind of go with the flow, whatever happens. I'm not like, I have to work really hard. I can't like some of these older guys that's retired and can just do whatever they want to, like,
Mr. Burns,
Mr. Rawls and Mr. Hayner out there in Ohio.
Well, maybe if you'd worked a little bit harder when you was younger, maybe you could have been retired then,
Well, yeah, that's probably the truth.
I don't think that was possible for him to do that. I'm pretty sure that man stayed busy 7 days a week, 22 hours of the day.
Tom, I only need to go in the office 5 more times.
Really?
Yeah,
awesome.
Between now and Good Friday, April 18th. Rest of the days, I'm taking off.
Good for
You're
you.
gonna be like me. You'll be so busy doing nothing, you won't have time to do anything.
Plan AW. I don't mind staying busy.
Melanie, I hadn't
My
talked to
busy.
Mr. Ed. I'm sorry. Go ahead, y'all. I was answering a question.
Oh, you answering that, Miss Melanie's about it
Yeah.
over the beta? I don't know.
I'm going to text him right now.
Yeah. He's probably in bed. You're probably too late.
Yeah, I'm going to wake him up.
Hey, Tom, I'm wearing your hat.
All right.
Yeah, he is.
Hey, you weren't supposed to say that. I didn't give JW one. I don't care for him that much.
No, I'm telling you what. I didn't want any of that old screen war type. Them screen war
I just
hats.
had to rub it in a little bit.
Those are my favorite kind of hats.
I got a Via T-shirt. I use it to wipe the windshield off every morning.
Oh boy, I can't catch a break with him, Tom. You know that? This guy. She might be in her cage.
I went ahead and texted Mr. Ed and Mike to see if I get a response from them.
Gary Smithfield, I got that same stuff over here in southeastern Illinois. I thought it looked like it was a haze. And they said that dust coming out of, blowed up out of Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma out through there. There's loads hard got in the upper atmosphere and it all come up in through here. So I don't know. Mine's going now since that rain come through. But it would just look like it was hazy out and it was dust in the air. I didn't notice it till the rain, and then it started. You could see the red dust on my vehicles and stuff.
We're just getting a lot of rain. We had storms last night, but nothing severe. We lost a few trees in the neighborhood around the area, but that was it. Blown over. So nothing serious.
Mr. Ed is okay. All right. Well, I don't know about the okay part. Maybe he's safe.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom, how many frames of brood are you seeing in your colonies?
I'm seeing. I had a small hive, and they still had like a frame of brood. I went into 4 hives. 2 of the hives had 3 frames, and the other hive had 4. My big hive had 4, but I didn't see any drones. So I think, but we're going to get, I think, below freezing Monday morning and like next Thursday, Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Just the lows being cold. So next week they're going to slow down a little bit. So I'm holding off my grafting. I usually can graft about the end of March, 1st of April. And there's no drones. So it's going to be mid to late April at the earliest. So I think we're at least 2 weeks behind schedule. I mean, normal, and a month behind last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're probably 2 weeks behind schedule as well, based upon where we typically are at. We're kind of experiencing the same thing. And what you said as far as brood frames, that's kind of what I'm seeing myself. Have you seen any drone brood inside them?
What's that?
Have you seen any drone brood inside the colonies? The stronger ones?
No brood on any of the frames.
Oh,
no
okay.
Drone brood.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a little bit.
That's what I was checking for more than anything, because I want to get grafting as soon as I can. And I looked in cells just for eggs.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any.
Yeah.
So I'm at least 30 days before flying drones.
Yeah. Hey, Todd. No, Melissa did get McDonald's last night. It was disgusting. And
Ooh.
oh, I'm sorry. The night before. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's right. The night before she did get it. That place wasn't closed, but the what was the other place? Freddy's. There's a place called Freddy's Burgers, which is pretty good. Kind of reminds me of a better quality Steak and Shake, basically. And but they were closed. We missed them by 3 minutes. So I knew if I didn't get her something to eat, even that trash food from McDonald's, she was going to get really angry and wound up on me. So
I'm splitting for nukes tomorrow. I don't know who it is up there. It's top of my chat. I missed it.
I just woke Mr. Ed up. He's coming on.
Okay.
I'm the most this year. I'm the most prepared I've ever been for the season.
you're prepared. You said. Did you say that you are prepared?
Yeah, the most. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think I'm pretty ready.
Hey, Wave Farm.
Yeah, I've never been ready, but I am this year. I think the weather helped. A few weeks delay helped.
Yeah, I don't think we're ever like ready. You know, I mean, everybody put that in the chat. How far behind do you think that you are this year, or are you completely ready to go for the season? I mean, places like Joey, those guys are full in the middle of it, you know. So
yeah,
I guess
I'm always ready, and I got a plan until I get started.
Well, I think that's the standard for the industry. You know.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Jeffrey, how you doing, buddy?
Come on in, Mr. Ed.
Jeff.
Hey, so Matt said the red buds here are about to turn the lower portion of the woods purple. So, okay, Matt, so we're a little bit further south of you, fairly close to the Arkansas line. Red buds are blooming down here. Magnolias are blooming down here. The pear trees are blooming down here. Oh, yeah, maples are 100% full bloom down here. I mean, what else I seen?
I got quite a bit of maple bloom blowed off last night between the heavy rain and the wind. I mean, there's still plenty up there, but it blowed off a lot. My ground's covered with maple blooms right today.
Sad to see it going too soon because they haven't even been blooming that long in your neck of the woods.
And my bees are all bringing in quite a bit of pollen now. Even today, there was in the rain there some. It was flying.
Yeah. So Todd, I have not seen any dogwoods blooming, but that doesn't mean that they're not. I've tried to pay
around me.
So yeah, I'm not sure.
I've got a lot of them around me, and I haven't seen a one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What's odd around here? I don't know about you fellas, and neither is Tom over there. Has anybody seen any dandelion? I have not seen a dandelion.
I've seen two. One yesterday and one today.
Yeah, if I have, they've been very sparse. I think I haven't
Was
noticed.
it the same one or two different plants?
Two different ones.
I've got
Two different ones, Joey.
One of them's twice as much as the other.
Come on, back. That's quack.
One was near my house and one was not.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dodd, how did you guys fare with the storms? I know you're south of Rolla, and Rolla, Missouri got pounded with at least a tornado, if not a couple. I know that. I'll be driving through there tomorrow, and I might take a couple pictures if they can see damage from the highway. So I know you're south of Rolla. I didn't know. Obviously, I can see you had hail down there. I didn't know if you had anything else beyond that. Seems like there was a lot of storms just across. I mean, I don't know how far that they stretched, and I probably didn't pay close enough attention, but it sounds like you all got it, Joey. And
so, I stepped on you, you little turd.
Hey, your microphone's on, old man.
Excuse me.
I think the storms were from central Kentucky all the way down to the Gulf.
Yeah.
They didn't quite make it up to southwest Ohio. The severe storms.
Yeah.
We just had typical storms.
You know, I don't really mind just the normal springtime storms. They're kind of cool, right? You know, you see a little lightning, a little wind, some heavy rains. I don't mind that. That's okay. But the stuff when it comes with too heavy a wind or damaging hail or tornadoes, I don't think we have any use for that.
Our bad tornadoes usually come right around the first 2 weeks of April. That seems like when we get them. We can get them the whole summer, but that's the worst time.
Yeah.
Todd says just started to him, so right through Rolla.
Hey, did
Cynthia
anybody
started blooming today.
live stream the other day? JW went live the other day on Thursday night. If you all
Yeah, I
weren't
saw it
there,
after the fact.
you did. It was a learning experience.
Looked like everybody was having fun with it.
I think so. A couple people said this is the best live chat I've ever had or ever seen.
They must have a dull life. So I can tell you.
Yeah.
Poor thing. Poor people. Hell, I think if I could figure out how to get on, I've been practicing up. I think I can figure out how to get everybody on there now. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark, how'd you fare last night? Did you have any more visitors?
You did blow your truck over, did it?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, hopefully it's still on all 18 wheels. I'll tell you, there was a lot of 18-wheelers that blew over Missouri, not just from the tornadoes, but just from the windy conditions. They actually, who told me this?
Straight line winds over on 40. There were several trucks went over, semis.
Was there?
Yeah. A lot of them guys was unhooking for their trailers to keep them turning their tractors over, you know.
Heck yeah.
Out there on 40. It was showing it on the national news.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, a buddy of mine here around St. Louis that owns a couple tractor trailers, and he hauls salt for us and farm goods and things of that nature. When he was out running yesterday, I think he put the trucks up early when it got windy, but and he just hauls semi-local. But he said he goes, yeah, for a while there when I was traveling down the road, he goes, I didn't see any tractor trailers out on the highways. He goes, they all kind of shut down and tucked them in. They didn't want sides.
Hey, Clay.
Evening, Clay. Hey, I see this guy in the chat over there. His name says Jeff Horshoff Bees.
I think that's
who is that guy?
I'm not sure.
I think it's an imposter.
Is it? Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know if he's a guy that you should let in this chat or not. You know, feel like he should come in here for a minute so we can see who he is.
Probably in bed.
Where he lives, how many hives he has, all the basics.
He could come in for 5 or 10 minutes.
He's got more hives in 1 yard than I got all together.
He's probably lost count of how many hives he has, right?
I heard he just pretends to be a beekeeper.
Oh, Melissa said that she heard that he just pretends to be a beekeeper. Hey, it's late. Never last long. Well, come on in, Jeff. You can bounce out in a few minutes. Come in and say hello. Block him. He's trouble. That's what Paul says. Maybe he can give us some words of wisdom. How about that?
Give us some words. I don't know how wise he'll be.
He's facetious tonight, Joey. His wife must have yelled at him or something.
This is be nice to old people tonight. Hey, it's late and I won't last long.
He doesn't know how to join in.
You got 7 minutes. It ain't 8 o'clock yet. You still got 7 minutes.
Is the chat posted to the top?
It's supposed to be.
Go to the top. Click on the link, Jeff.
I even sent him the link. He should be able to just come right in.
Well,
he's just pulling her leg then. Old Chuck Honeybee said that he actually hurt himself with the shiv that Mr. Ed gave to him. Poor
The
fellow.
link is posted at the top of the chat. Yeah. There's you another one.
fetch quack. Go get your quack. Fetch him. Fetch quack.
Oh, man, still left his microphone on. You have to put him in a home soon. Don't tell him I said that.
I got him muted.
Oh, Jeremy has a good question down there, Joey.
Whoops, I just missed it.
Jeremy, I'll give you my thoughts. I don't have any because I'm not qualified.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about it.
I think the idea is good, but I'll tell you they're pretty proud of it and it's pretty expensive. So I don't know.
Ian talked about that about a year ago, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. I'm never going to do a part of it. I won't buy queens that have been vaccinated. I want no part of it. I want bees just to be bees.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're vaccinated for something that we barely see anything with.
Yeah, and I know they talked about the vaccination is supposed to help against American foul brood, and I'm just curious. I'm asking the question not to be sarcastic, but to understand how many people in this chat have seen American foul brood. Maybe not in your own county, but in somebody else's county. How many people in there have seen American foul brood? I, for one, I'm not a veteran beekeeper of 25 years, 30 years. Only been in this now for 8 years, but I've never seen it myself.
I've never seen it.
I'm not saying
even heard of somebody.
Problem. I'm just saying I myself, 7 years going into 8, have not seen American foul brood. So I'm not saying it can't help. I'm not saying it wouldn't, but I pray that I don't see it and have the issue. But so when I actually had that presentation there, and one of the things I pointed out was American foul brood, and I had to specify. I said I have never seen American foul brood, but I can tell you what I read in the books, and what that looks like. But
yeah, my dad had some. Oh, that's been 35, 40 years ago. I've seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any since, and I've seen no American ever. Never. I don't know anybody that's ever seen any American foul brood.
So you're saying your dad's seen European foul brood? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Now, does European foul brood?
Some of Dad's hives, So.
Yeah. Now, does European foul brood still have an odor to it?
Mm-hmm.
But probably not as bad as American foul brood, would you say?
Yeah, that's the reason they call it both foul brood. I don't know. I never seen the American foul brood, so I don't know how the idea.
Yeah, I've never seen it. European or American foul brood.
Well, I know with European foul brood, you can actually treat with that antibiotic or terramycin, or you can actually, I've read a few different things, says you can actually start to trade some of the combs out. Sometimes you can feed or get nutrition a little higher. Some people even can potentially requeen to try to eliminate that. But I have heard people say that often with some good nutrition, it will rectify itself, because typically it's more of a springtime issue with high moisture, rainy season, things like that. So that's just what I understand. Yeah, Steve says it's more treatable and it's more common.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Illinois got a law; they burn you out. I mean, they burn everything you got if you get diagnosed with American.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, I think that I would be happy to call out our one apiary inspector in Missouri if I think I had it, and I would have zero issue with setting fire to that thing.
Hey, there he is. You got up out of bed, didn't you?
Who's the new guy in the chat? Who's the new guy?
Dude, it's late. It's late tonight.
Mr. Red's computer savvy now.
Hey Joey, I gotta say, when I was watching your video this morning, and I just I loved how you went off screen when you killed all them beetles.
Yeah, I seen that too.
He didn't want
they got me gun shy.
He didn't want to get put in timeout again, Ed.
He didn't even say anything. He just said, "I'll be back."
Yeah. Yeah, we noticed that also.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
In that same yard, that same hive still has. They're doing good, and they had a lot of them pushed up, and I said I'll be back. And when I come back, I said one of them passed the hive tube test. It flew off.
Jeff, I seen a couple. I watched a video today. There's a couple of old men down there in Louisiana, someplace putting on double screen boards. I don't know who it was, but
yeah, it's going on down here with them screen boards. Hey, this week I did 87 of them out in our yards, and I had, because I wrote all that stuff down, and I had 87 that I actually put a board in, and 45 of our hives weren't ready to. They just weren't far enough. But by next week, probably half of those will be ready. So next week I'll be actually splitting the hives next week. So when Charlie finds out how many we got, it's gonna be over 200, and he ain't gonna be happy about that.
I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna repeat Tom's question.
Uh-huh.
What was your average amount of brood frames in
Ooh,
each
I'd
hive?
5 or 6. I would say that's a now I'm not saying 5 or 6 wall to wall,
Mhm.
but two
Yeah.
two for sure wall to wall, and 3 or 4, 2 or 3 more, with good amounts on it. They're brooding up really good right now. And the only thing that I worried about, because last week I put the boards at the one in the Abbey, and I called up world famous Mike Barry about this one, and asked him. I was concerned that I didn't see any drones, 1 or 2, but it's all going to work out. There's plenty drones in the hives now, and it's just a week later, so there's going to be it'll be all working out.
Can you see that text, Jeff?
Can what?
Can you see that text from Grammy right there?
No, I
Okay.
somehow I got it on my phone. I couldn't do it on my computer, and I can't.
Oh,
I
anyway,
can't.
Grammy says, Jeff, Joey, Mike, I will be in NOLA March 29th and 30th.
Yeah.
We'd love to see
When is this
y'all.
shit going to be?
29th and 30th.
Yeah, I'll be in Pueblo, Colorado. I got to go up there
Oh,
and speak. I leave on the
I
20th.
won't be.
Darn it, because I love her to come up, to the Abbey with you guys. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That's just not going to work though.
Mr. Ed, hopefully they don't have any snow there in Colorado Springs.
I don't think so. When I don't know. Well, I hope they don't either, because I don't like that stuff either.
That's the same one you guys are going to, Tom?
I was going to make a surprise. Thanks for blabbing. Yeah, we'll see you there, Mr. Ed.
You really going, Tom?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Hey, we'll have to get dinner or something. I think Melissa and I are going to be up there. We're going to get in there on Thursday. It doesn't start until Saturday, but there's a meet and greet Friday night. So I'm assuming you're probably flying in Friday.
Yeah, I'm flying in Friday. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Melissa,
so how come you all are going up there?
Because you're going there.
Oh, get out of here.
We're going to see the one, the only
right.
Mr. Ed.
Come on.
Yeah. You just came down here a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now, see, you've seen him enough to do the same thing I did to him. Somebody said, "You going to listen to Mr. Ed talk?" I said, "Not unheard it 100 times."
There ain't nothing new.
I went anyway.
Yeah, and when Joey shows up, he's always wearing Dirt Rooster garb.
Oh my gosh.
I ain't got no Dirt Rooster on right now.
I'm seeing that.
I heard that you signed his Dirt Rooster hat too.
I sign everybody. Any chance I get to deface a piece of Dirt Rooster merchandise, I'm gonna do it.
You know what? So his wife really is on her game when it comes to all the different merch that they provide. She really has it put together. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, they finally came up with a nice hat that I really liked, and I bought one from them at Nobby this year. And then Melissa was over there talking with Randy, so he signed it. So what I'll do is I'll bring it with me to Pueblo, and you can sign it too. How about that?
That's perfect. I kind of like my Via Honey hat myself.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wait, do that again, Joey. I missed it.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Look at that.
Holy cow. Brian Coper carries the highest. Dirt Rooster. Who all has on there?
Yappy.
Bowman.
That was the last year of
Mr. Ed.
the other thing.
Amen.
Selena came in.
Selena, yeah.
See, Mr. Ed's right there under 628. He's got it dated and everything.
Man, Joey, with that hat and all them names on it, you probably get a cup of coffee somewhere for that.
Burns.
Who's that guy in blue? Who's that fella? I don't think I know. I don't recognize that name.
I can't even read it.
It's backwards to me.
Don't even know who it is.
Oh, talking about Greg?
Yeah.
Oh,
never
Greg
heard of him.
Burns.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Grammy, I couldn't agree with you more. Elizabeth, she is great. And I'll tell you what, she's the one that keeps Randy dialed in as far as keeping him organized. She is on her game.
Just like Melissa is. Same deal, Tom?
No, not really. I would say that's not really. It's kind of the opposite, actually. She's not here to defend herself. She's sitting about 30 feet away.
I always know about that. Every year, I always buy a hat from the Rooster, sometimes 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I picked one up in front of Elizabeth one time. I just picked it up. Let me show you. I just picked it up and I was talking to somebody and I started bending on that thing like this here. And she looked at me. I said, I'm buying it. She said, I'm glad you are. But that's another one.
There it is. I like that color.
I'm gonna have to get a loan from you guys so I can afford stuff like that.
I can't tell. It's backwards in the screen to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Bob's up there too. Seth Hill, Selena, Ashby Miller, Dirt Rooster, Cayman. There's a bunch of names on there, huh?
Yeah.
I never even thought about doing that, getting just a hat that we have and just having a whole bunch of people sign it and put a date on it.
I told the girls that was working for Cayman when I did this one, I said, y'all need to get everybody to sign one and raffle it off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Be a good idea.
I don't know, Grammy. I don't know that dude. He just ran up there and grabbed it and signed it.
Yeah, no clue who that fella is. He's been commenting in the background, but he hasn't shown his face.
He's that EAS guy, isn't he? He's that EAS master beekeeper guy. Isn't that him? His name's Merlin.
Oh yeah, there you go. I know. I see that pot you're trying to stir.
Uncle David.
That's right.
That's Uncle David's nephew, Greg.
Joker's gonna joke. He's just hanging out there, isn't he?
That's right.
He should come in here and defend himself,
Yeah, he could.
Hey, I got a.
I don't know why he's so bashful. He don't come in over here.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't really have a lot to say, Joey. That's what it is. He struggles for words.
Yeah.
Some people
kind of quiet guy.
Like Mr. Ed and JW, those two, they just can carry in a conversation with a brick wall. But Greg, he's a little bit, he's a little bit reserved and held back. And, so.
Well, that's what happens when you're famous.
Yeah.
You know all about that, don't you?
Joey, look at Steve's comment down there. You got to pull that one up. That's
me.
Steve, you win the internet today. I love that one, man.
Did I miss it? Is that it?
That's it.
Steve's right on with that one.
Come.
He's not even looking at the screen right now. He's busy playing with the dog.
Look here,
He's
Ed.
too busy ignoring it.
Here, Jeff.
Oh, look at that. I love that dog, JW. I love that dog.
See, he's trying to change the subject really quick.
Hey, read the comment that's on the screen, JW.
What, the washing machine?
Yeah.
Steve's just trying to hurt my feelings, that's all.
Yeah.
That's what I used to call my son that came to the Abbey with me when y'all were there.
Yeah.
That's what I used to call him, the agitator. That was a CB handle I gave him years ago. The agitator.
Hey, does Boz have a song in him tonight? He learned any new ones?
No, we're not singing. Thank you.
Oh, come on. Everybody loves that. Everybody
Yeah,
wants
no,
to
everybody
Boz.
loves that.
I'd have to charge for that kind of stuff. Joey have to.
Come on, JW, give him the mic.
What if somebody gives Joey a super chat or something? Would you sing then? Oh my gosh. They just let anybody.
The instigators, all of you. Joker's got a joke, huh? Melissa gets more than 6 feet away from Tom, and he just turns into an unruly jokester, huh? Unbelievable.
Every now and then you see that hand come up behind his head.
Yeah.
She's a little ways away over there.
Oh, she's in the same room?
Yeah.
You're brave.
Well, she's over
You're
there
within
somewhere.
throwing distance, though. You better watch out.
Yeah. She's over there.
You getting any storms yet out your way, Greg?
No, it's really breezy, which is, we're on this ridge. Well, JW, it's just, and Tom knows it's a big ridge out here, and we just get the worst of all the wind. So, thank God that's all we've got. How about you guys? You guys getting any weather?
A little bit.
Already passed here. Well, I got straight winds. We didn't get any twister out of it. Tom got some pretty close to him out there in the metropolitan area of St. Louis.
Oh man, did you really?
Yeah, yesterday. So Melissa and I are down at my sister's lake house in southern part of Missouri, very close to Branson. And so last night there were storms that moved through the St. Louis area. Well, pretty much across the entire state. They split going around us down here, so we didn't get anything. But up in St. Louis, there was our shop is about 2 miles from our house, maybe 2.5. And there was a tornado that ran through that tore up about a half a mile from our shop. And it basically went between 2 bee yards in our shop, didn't touch any one of them. And so far I got word back because all the cameras went out in the shop and our house. So last night I had a couple people check on my house and said, it's still standing. Everything looks good there. And then this morning, when they can get past some of the down power lines and such, they said the shop was good. All the equipment was still intact and everything was good there. So I was thankful.
Oof. Yeah,
and then
man.
we had people checking out the bee yards. Ben Schmidt lives out there in Union, Missouri, and he went out and checked the one bee yard. And then we had a few other people reach out and say, hey, how can we help? And I said, I just want to know that my bees are okay. So I had a bunch of wonderful friends and people and beekeepers. They're just a good breed of their own, right? Some good folks. Go out and check on my honeybee colonies and make sure that nothing was flipped over or lids were blown off. And my son's left here earlier to head home, and I told him he had to go check the last 2 bee yards tonight. So hopefully all is well with those, but so far so good.
Man, that's great. It seems like whenever you get away from the hacienda, things tend to flare up on you, and at least you've nothing to worry about. I mean, it's easy to say everything can get replaced, but that doesn't make it real easy to say, okay, I've got this building's at risk, this business is at risk, or these bees are at risk. So it sounds like have some good folks that at least give you a little peace of mind in the moment.
Oh yeah, I didn't sleep very good last night, if I'm being honest. So I
We're
was
only on their 3rd vacation this week.
Unbelievable. These guys are living the dream. I love it.
Well,
and you guys know how special this is right now to have the one and only Jeff Horchoff up this late.
I know, right? Yeah.
My clock says 9:15.
That's a big accomplishment.
It's unbelievable.
It's 8:15 and I'm still awake. That's.
I mean, you get up at 3 and go through your thing, man. That's this is a special chat. I mean, we've been trying for years to get Jeff on. And he's like, man, I love the stream team. I love you guys. But, man, I'm in bed sleeping. I got to get up early in the morning. And then you click on this thing, and look, he's just like, let's do it. Let's go. Buckle up.
He must have something planned with the Dirt Rooster tomorrow. Because if he does, that'd be late.
We really do have something planned. It's not tomorrow. It's Monday. I can't talk about it, though. I can't talk about it.
Jeff, you got a question right there. How many swarms have you caught?
Oh, I only caught one so far.
One.
Yeah,
I don't even have scout bees out right now.
we said when Charlie, Ralph, and I we went and cleaned up one of our yards, and at the same time we had to pull some old swarms that we had last year that were still out there. So we pulled them, and while we're there, I set one trap out there, and a week, 9 days later, I had bees in it.
Well, I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, I heard Rooster had 6.
No. So we Randy, me, and Fred had a talk. Fred did us a Fred. That's Professor Fred Dunn. We did a talk on his channel on Monday of this week. So I know Randy doesn't have any swarms yet.
Oh, so you got one up on them.
That's right. I've got right now. I'm on the lead for the taco dinner.
Now, when did they move in?
They moved in. I set the trap on March 1st, and on the 9th they were in.
Okay, on the 9th.
Yeah.
Usually about 2 weeks after your first swarm, on average, is when I start catching them.
Well, Joey, so I opened up, and I said it earlier, I opened up 87 boxes and found only one swarm cell in 87 boxes.
I didn't see any.
Wow.
I saw cups. I hadn't seen anything charged or anything.
Now the one cell that I did find, I did cut it and split the hive right then at that
Yeah.
point. But
Are you guys
that
on
was,
regular time now? Do you think you're back to what regular seasonal things that you were seeing
No.
like 5 years ago or so? Or
We're about 3 weeks behind.
that's what I think
you're
too.
behind? Interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. Because normally I'm finished our splits by this time. Last year I was finished this time.
Wow.
And then now I'm still 80% done.
Our little trickle in early spring trickle in flow was on time.
Yeah, that was.
But we did have that little freeze in the 20s a few weeks ago, and I think that knocked some of that flow down.
Yeah.
Because
I will say this though, Joe, and I know I saw it in your video this morning. The bees normally when we go in there at this time of year, they are just all in your face, and they are just docile
They're
compared
happy.
to.
Well,
So we have to be in a flow of some sort.
in my small yards, I was telling them this earlier, I can break a hive open and not worry about anything. But in my main yard, which is my biggest yard, and it's not that big, but it's got 20 plus hives in it. It don't take long up into the day before you can get robins setting in. They want to hit any frame you got laying out. They're gonna hit it pretty quick.
Yeah.
But because they're bigger, it's a bigger yard, so they're picking up everything out there. Where the little yards with little out yards with like 5 colonies.
Yeah.
I guess it's not, there's enough out there for them to handle, but it's not a big flow.
But Joey, just like you had that dead out in that yard, and you had all that honey in that box. So to me, that because I saw the exact same thing. I had either 2 or 3 of them. The bees were gone. There's still honey in the box.
Yeah.
And so normally, if that's the case, what you talk about robbing, they're gonna find that stuff and take care of it. So the robbing really isn't going on like you would normally think.
Yeah, the only time you really get it set in right now is if you got the box open or outside and you break a little honey open, then they start coming in. But that honey was good, clean honey. It's sitting here in the freezer right now.
Yeah, mine's the same thing. I actually wound up with almost 30 frames of honey, and probably those 30 frames half of them are honey on both sides of it, good honey on both sides of it. I mean, I was really surprised. Surprised mostly because it hadn't been robbed out, but that's just what it is. So now, just like you, that'll be honey that'll be given to swarms or whatever if I need them. But I
I,
put it all in the freezer.
I was telling them earlier too that I found a mistake I made. I ride around that bee yard at least once every day. When I'm leaving, I ride through it, the one right here by the house. And I hadn't noticed anything since last October. But when I was doing my splits, the last hive I walked to had a queen excluder in it. It was a double deep with a queen excluder in between.
You're early.
Okay.
You're prepping for the flow.
Yeah, they're okay.
Man, that's a miracle.
Well, since you're fessing up, I'll say mine too. So I got in one of our yards. I had to sell hives because there's no way that I wanted this many bees. So I sold 40 hives, and not hives, but I sold 40 hives that had 20 frames of bees. So I sold the bees and the frames on them, not the equipment. And I don't know how this did it, but so Bernard and I went out to one of our yards, and I closed up. I think we took 5 hives out of that yard. So I closed up all the boxes, and when I went out to that yard on whatever Tuesday of this week, so it had been about a week since I went out there, I found one of those boxes. I closed up a hive that we never picked up, and I opened it up, and that's where I got the full box of honey from. That there was a big pile of dead bees on the bottom, and 3 frames of bees, and the queen was still in it, but I had it closed off, and then bees died off, so I had to get rid of all the dead bees and break it down to one box and take that full box of honey off of it. Yeah, so I make mistakes. Oh my goodness! But I'm gonna get on Bernard about that one, because I say, how did we miss that?
Yeah. Do you remember the video I did of the 3 deeps, and I was going to remove the bottom one, and there was so many bees in there, I decided to leave it?
Yeah.
You believe that was going to be the first colony I split the other day? And when I went in there, it was full of bees, not the first egg, larvae, or anything. I couldn't, and that thing was full of brood. The first time.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I didn't see any sign of any kind of old emergency cells, procedure cells, anything.
Nothing.
All clean, empty frames. The top box still had plenty of honey in it.
Huh.
And I reduced it down to one box and gave them one frame right in the middle with eggs. And yesterday I went and looked at it, or day before yesterday, went and looked at it, and they make an emergency sale on that frame. I don't know what happened. If I'd have matched her, you'd have think they'd have made some emergency sales, something.
Yeah.
Bugs in a box, man. What are you gonna do?
I know.
It's really great. All right. Well, I got to go, guys. It's almost 8.
Way past your bedtime.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me come on in this evening. It's really great to see everybody. Thank y'all very much.
See you Thursday.
Yeah, I'll see you Thursday, Joe. Good
Night,
night, everybody.
Jeff.
Good night. If
See
I can
ya.
get out of here.
Hey, Ed, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
All right, Tom. Looking forward to it. Tell Melissa hello.
Yes, sir.
Good night, guys.
See ya.
Hey, I had a little strange one yesterday. I was checking my hive. Remember I told you the one had the one frame? Well, I'm looking for eggs. There was no capped brood, but she was just laying that frame up. But the beginning of it was eggs all over in the cells. And I'm going, what? Like, this is a brand new queen. But then single eggs in every cell, perfect on the whole side of the frame. And it's like, she just shrunk down that much during the wintertime that she had to learn how to lay eggs again. Or
Maybe
what?
so.
I've never seen that before.
Well, you know what? Sometimes we think the queen's the one making all the calls there, but you ever watch sometimes they're in a real big hurry to move around and move her on. Sometimes they're nowhere to be found. I think the colony dictates a lot more of what we think is queen performance than the queen a lot of the time. So who knows? You might have had some
Yeah.
antsy. It's like smells like spring, and they're like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And she's just firing away. And now they're like in more relaxed mode. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it
I,
might be,
I
Greg.
believe,
Who knows?
I believe you're right, because the mentor that Jeff and I learned from, he used to call them the board of trustees.
That's it.
And they decide where that queen's going to go and when she gets replaced.
It's a church board of elders, it seems like.
Yeah.
And they got to argue about everything. What color is the drapes? What color is the carpet? How many hymnals are we going to put out this week? They just can't ever seem to agree on anything.
Well, it is a bunch of ladies inside there, right? A bunch of females. So, I mean, I'm not saying that you would have less problems with men.
Look,
but
you're right, Tom. When you're right, you're right. And I know Melissa can't reach you, but my grandpa, which is an old country preacher, you know what he said?
What's that?
Women drivers, no survivors. I mean, who's really driving the Hive, right? It's a bunch of women.
Hey,
right?
You sit down. Don't you climb out of that seat, woman. Sit back down.
Well, I tell you what.
Good one, Greg.
You're still alive in that
Here,
box,
Greg.
as of yesterday morning.
Say again, JW.
He said that.
Look what she has here. Look what this is. This is a shot collar.
Going
For
on.
my sister's dog.
Hey, what you guys doing? Please keep that in private. Get that out of here.
Yeah,
Come on,
that's
Tom.
right.
Come on, go. You guys get.
Give
JW, what were you saying there?
I said that those two queens I was telling you about on your stream Wednesday night.
Oh yeah.
They're both still alive in that nuke, and them little foragers are bringing in pollen. So I
Look at that.
It over and give them a little more fondant. So,
That's cool. Interesting.
I'm surprised they haven't killed one another yet, but they haven't.
Well, I've seen some two queen colonies. Well, I didn't do it on purpose, and they hung in there for quite a long time, and then one day they just something set the one off and done.
Well, Jeff was telling me the other day that he found one with two queens in it. He put the divider board in, and a week later he went to see which one had cells, and he found the queen. So he found her in the bottom, so he was going to move her to the top. And when, for whatever reason, he just grabbed the first frame he got to in that top box, and he pulled it out, and there's a queen walking around on it too. So he put the whole thing back together. He said, I'm just going to put it back together instead of leaving the queen in each box. He just pulled the divider board and let them have it back together again. Hey, there's Mike Berry.
Mike Berry, two queens, very common coming out of winter. Yeah. How did it happen last fall? Look at that.
Yeah.
I had one.
I put mine together, Mike. They wasn't together when I found them. I just put them together.
Hey, JW, have you been in your colonies yet? Have you gotten any kind of early inclinations on what you're how your colonies are doing?
Yeah, they're doing good.
How did those Pepto Pinks do for you?
They're still a little lighter than everything else on brood.
On building up, yeah.
There's just now starting to lie. I was in there this week. I got one
that's
in
the
the
Caucasian
10,
network. Yeah,
a box to her. One of them's in a 10 single. I'm gonna add a box to her first of the week when the weather gets good again. So
well, that's good. That's consistent. That's what I wanted to hear, is if they were a little bit behind the other stock, because that's what we look for, and I like to hear that across the country. If everyone says those Caucasians, they're a week or whatever behind, that's consistent, and that's good. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's about what I'd say mine are running is. Yes, I've looked at all of them. In fact, I've got two of them in 7-frame Apamay double deeps, and I'm going to transfer them into wood boxes here probably next week sometime. I've got this sucker that's I'm going to try to sell these other two Apamay boxes too. So,
Greg, are there any differences in the way the Caucasian looks physically compared to the Italian?
So
They're
here's what
slow
I'll say.
crawler.
They all right. So there's what I see working with them day in and day out, and then there's what the educated elitist will say about it. And so here's what I'll say. I can take a jet black mama and I can make 100 queens off of her, and I'll have 30 that are jet black, and I'll have 40 that are leathery red, and then the balance will be tiger striped, right? So they constantly throw a little bit, but what I notice always happens, even with the leathery red queens, is that they'll always have salt and pepper stock. They'll always have light and dark workers. Where like if it's typically the straight Italians, they typically will have more. Typically, will have more of those lighter colored stock. When you get into like the pure Caucasians, like off the breeder queens, a lot of those bees were all like 90%. But as soon as those hybridize with your carnies, then they go back to salt and pepper. And I think their performance is a lot better when they're not straight Caucasian. The hard part is you want to get that Caucasian seeded, but you don't necessarily want to be the full extent of that Caucasian. You want to dial that back, but still keep just enough in it. So it's the mental approach that the hive mind is more frugal. But yeah, JW is right. They're the size. They tend to well, maybe I think the size is a little bit smaller. I think the coloration of them sometimes throw it off, how the hair looks, the difference of thought. But here's something interesting that I don't think anybody knows. Do you know what the true real color of a real 100% Caucasian is? It's not black.
They're black.
They're actually not. They're leather red. The old school original Caucasians were actually leather red. I guess this color, darker color, is from what it sounds like is more of a mutation later. But I thought that was pretty interesting because I always lean towards the black ones. Yeah. That's the colonies that I tend to choose for the traits that I like. For whatever reason, they're always the dark queens. I thought it was pretty interesting when you're making a bunch of virgins and things. You graft off a jet black mama, and because of these alleles and gene sets, it's a deeper dive than just off the queen mama. It goes back to drone grandfathers and great grandfathers and things like that. But there's actually some really cool stuff where if you slow your incubator down on temp and you slow up, you can dial in when these queens hatch. And a lot of commercial guys, if they're getting into a bind on timelines and time, that they'll go down to 92.1 or 92.2, 92.3, and they'll slow the temperature of the incubator down so the queens will hatch out like 8 hours later than when they normally would. And there's a lot of guys that I know that they say, oh, you want dark queens? That's no problem. We'll just run the incubator down cooler. And what they say is that running a cooler incubator over that longer duration of time tends to lead towards darker queens, the appearance, which is really fascinating. Okay, so what does color mean? How much does that play into all those things? I mean, I don't know. I just have this inclination. Whether it's preconceived or nonsense, it's like all the colonies that I love what they do. I mean, 9 times out of 10, there are either a very, very dark queen or a very, very dark root beer striped queen. But who knows? But Jeremy Lindsay? Hey, Jeremy. What a great dude he is. Greg, do you have any idea on when you think you'll be selling some Caucasian genetic queens? Right. Great question. Right now, we've got such a demand for our queen line. We are offering no public sales at all this year. All of our genetic offering is going to go grandfathered into all of our previous customers. We're going to take care of them first and then open it up to new queen orders. I hope to be able to run a lot of queens this year, but I'm not in a hurry to raise more than we normally do. We normally are somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000 mated queens a year. I'm not in a hurry to go further and faster and farther with that. This year, I'm in a hurry to spend more time inseminating and kind of dialing in our genetics, especially after this past winter. Some of the things that we've seen, some of the knucklehead moves that I made, like leaving 100 colonies out on the top part of a ridge, was the stupidest thing in the world ever. because they absolutely just got annihilated with that minus 29 wind chills with, 50-mile-an-hour winds for 3 days straight. Doesn't matter if they were in an apiary or a wood box or anything. It froze them right out. So I've got this one particular yard where we lost 99 out of 100, but that one that's in there, boy, that is something that I'm really excited about to graft from. And that's one specifically that we'll be using, collecting drone semen from and using that. But anyways, short story long.
Greg, I had some of the same experience myself when it comes to overwintered nukes that I built late in the season. I say late, middle part of June, and I lost a bunch of them. So that took my percentage much higher than what I normally would have with the rest of my colonies. So I experienced the same thing. And I blame myself on that. And I'm telling you, that was a hard lesson learned, and I won't make the same mistake again. I'll make a couple of changes with that and, put them in an area where that might be, if we do experience an extremely cold winter again, they might have a little bit better coverage,
Yeah. Or just, and that's, how do you get so wrapped up in, like, for the last, I don't know, 4 years out here at this particular spot. I mean, our overwintering success has been tremendous. So we got so busy at the end of the year, wax dipping and getting everything ready and just doing what we do, that I knew, God puts that little thing on your heart and starts tugging. And there was several times where I knew that what I should have done and what I was trying to do is get at least a bunch of them moved down around where we've got a pond that's kind of at the toe of all these ridges coming together. And it's got northern and western wooded edge. And it's like 120 feet down below all that, where it would be pristine. But I just never could get around to make the time to do it. So in that yard, we lost. But yeah, Tom, we just have to remind ourselves, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it.
That's right. 100%.
That's right.
Couldn't agree more.
Todd, man, I got to meet Todd for the first time in person at the EMBA conference. That was, well done, Tom and Melissa, you and your team. That was such a great event. Really pumped up and looking forward to, hopefully we get invited back next year. If so, we'd like to be there. But I got to meet so many great folks, like, in person for the first time ever, and learned that it was Matt at Sandy Valley, not Matt and Sandy Valley. Thought that was that was a pretty cool bit. But a lot of great, Clay Bunner, got to meet Clay. There's a bunch of great folks, including the one and only Mr. Todd Prater, Loma Vista Bico. So Todd, good to see you there.
What about this guy over here?
We got to break bread and get a hamburger with Mr. JW Irwin. Can you believe that? That was awesome.
I can't believe.
I'm just JW. Let's just a key check. Key check. Are you good? Where you have your keys? You know where the keys are at the moment? Are you good?
I can't hear you. Got banana in the ear.
You got crow stuck in your ears there. That's good. But what a fun time there.
Next time when he comes in, we'll take his keys from him. We'll take
his keys. Yeah, exactly. That's great.
Like the kids. Shoot.
Hey, Greg, I'm just wondering if you might be hitting the road with deliveries out in my direction this year. Todd, man, hey, let's that would be not an extremely profitable trip, but I mean, we've got bunches of different trailers. he's got some big trailers too. We could do anything. If we want to take a road trip out to California, we probably could. It'd have to be way later in the fall maybe or something. But I'd cruise over. We'd pick up JW. We'd pick up Tom. Go on a road trip. Go across the Rockies. Go visit Todd. That would be pretty fun, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
Don't wait too long. He'll probably fall off in the ocean, but then it's getting pretty skeptical out there.
It is getting pretty skeptical. Sketchy for sure, isn't it?
I think what Matt said right here that's kind of interesting. I've never really seen that happen before.
Yeah, they don't care about you. They're like these puppy dogs that are just doing their thing. They could care less what you're doing. Like when you pull frames out, like, we all got probably a certain way we go through colonies, but I'll pull out, one frame or two frames, and I'll just lean it outside next to the box there. And they're just doing this. They could care less. They're just
Yeah.
moving all like it could. They're not buzzing off, or they're doing this right. Go through the colony, and like if you're checking for stuff, you got to do that thing where you just boom, 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 boom to look and see. They're just not in a hurry. They're not scrambly. Or the worst is when you've got skittery bees. I can't stand it. I will pinch that
looks
queen
like
right
they're going
clean
in
if the
slow
skittery-
motion.
Yeah. Yep.
When they're on
Yeah,
the frames,
exactly.
they're just moving real slow.
They're just well.
I've seen
You know what we
some
call
like
them?
you're
We
talking
called
about.
them stoner bees for a long time because they were just like they've got Grateful Dead blaring in the background, and they're just like all focused and like, oh man, the Cheech and Chongs, they're just doing their thing.
That's right.
I've seen some like that's a good word to define them. Skittery.
Oof.
They just kind of like walking around. It's
Like
almost
meth
like
head bees. They're just
you
tweaked out
videoed
and
them
just
with the wrong
yeah.
frame. You know,
Yeah.
jumpy.
I don't like it one bit. And even if it's a good hive, I will pinch her because I don't like that. I don't like it one bit.
Too hard to work.
Yeah.
So Chuck's honeybees actually up around Joey around 829 post a really good statement up there in the top that he kind of had a kind of a semi question up there about his virgins coming back to their own mating nukes.
Find it. You don't see it.
Yep. I can't click on it because I'm not logged in to your thing or whatever. Look at 829.
829.
Yep. Yeah. This is a big one here where direction and landmarks make a huge difference.
I thought I had this starred. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, this one here makes a huge difference when it comes. I don't care what part of the country it is, and when you have mating nukes, they all better look a little bit different. You better have landmarks, whether it's a tree or a pallet sitting somewhere, different directions, anything that when they come out, they can understand exactly where they're at, and definitely not keeping mating nuke entrances too close together.
Put it above their entrance when they're flying in, so they can come down and see that unique object.
Sometimes you can even take and put like on some of the mating nukes that I have, I'll put like a star on one or a circle or a couple hash marks or put a number on it or just anything that's off the wall. You could put something over the entrance area that is clearly defining and different, maybe even a different color as well. Greg, do you have any wise words of wisdom here? I feel like you're the guy to talk to you about this.
Man, we've done shapes and sizes and handprints and colors and configurations and orientations.
Mm-hmm.
You know what my go-to is right now is we build 12-way mating pallets.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's 12 mating nukes all on the same pallet, and they're not that far away. They're but they're maybe, I don't know, probably 8 inches away, but they're separated by like a corner of a box, and that's it. But everything's wax dipped, so there's maybe there's some kind of more pronounced visual grain pop or corner or coloration, or as the wax dip gets patina, they all kind of have a little bit of a uniqueness. I mean we've got on our 12 ways we've got I can't hardly explain that with my let me draw you this picture real quick. Let's see. It's kind of silly actually. Where's my paper right here? I'll just use this. So I've got 1, 2, 3. It's like this.
Greg, while you're drawing that, my grandson did an experiment a few years ago in school about honeybees and how they find certain areas.
Yeah.
He did like 5 different shapes. What we did was made 5 sugar water or 5 water bottles, feeders. Only one of them had sugar water, and every one of those were sitting on or had a different shape board or whatever we used to mark it. One was round, one was like clover. I forget what all shapes we used. But when the bees finally found that sugar water, they would always come back to that point. But they wasn't focusing on the odor of that sugar water. They were focusing on that shape.
Mm-hmm.
We moved that sugar water over 3 jars after they got used to it, and I marked I marked I think a white one and a blue one, bees. And when they would leave, they would come back to that same shape, and they'd find out it's regular water, and then they'd work their way over to that sugar water.
Mm.
We'd watch them do that for 2 or 3 times. Then we moved the shape where the sugar water was, or where another regular water was, and they'd come back and they'd see that shape and they'd land over there. That was a pretty good experiment. I thought it was a cool. He got like 3rd place at state on that little experiment.
Yeah. I don't know what if it maybe I don't know. I never really know why some things work and why some things don't. And this is I'll probably just have to, if I can get around to doing a video, maybe I'll just have to do a video. But let's see if we can.
Mm-hmm.
So like in this center part, this is the center of the palette.
Yep.
Right. And so the entrances are in the center of a palette, and most folks wouldn't even dare do that. They would think, well, how are they going to get in and out? The stuff that I've seen in commercial yards, running queenless starters and queen right finishers and flipping boxes, that's all done on pallets where the entrances are all real close, or even on the inside part of a 4-way pallet where you wouldn't expect. But all we're doing is just alternating where it is and just giving them a little bit of delineation separation, and they seem to do fine. You know, even if if we got a 12-way pallet and we get I don't know, 9 out of 12 or 10 out of 12 to, that's no Fred Dunn sketch, you're right. Even if we don't get them all back and we get most of them back, I mean, it's so nice having everything in one spot. We can quickly cruise through them all, service them all, go through, harvest the queens, drop queen cells, and just do everything so quickly. Even if we're operating at a 70 or 80% success rate, that's beautiful. Just keep going with it. And then that saves me needing having all these extra bottoms and all these different areas. And then, you know, if we were in an area where like the grass never grew, or have a bunch of different mating nukes on the ground, or having to maintain or mow, if we were just raising like one round of queens, it would be different. But like we're raising them, you know, we start grafting around Easter and we go all the way until the end of August. So I don't know. I stopped painting my boxes different colors, stopped putting colored entrance dials on. What I can say is, like if you run like a horizontal hive with 12 mating nukes all in a row, that has challenges. If it's all the same dial all the way down, that doesn't work out real well for me. If I alternate them or stagger them or give them a little bit more room, it's fine. I've got a couple beautiful ones that I've had Ricky build. I think I'm going to flip the stainless ones out to color and just you know, make some kind of in that context, make it different. But for whatever reason, when we're running like 12 ways, or I'll say this, and then I'll stop because I'll just keep going, Tom. But where I really learned a lot of how to do queens at scale and do it the right way was the time that Bob and I spent with Chris Warner. And I started to put a lot of effort into the 3-way box. And then I would run a lot of 2-way pallets that on those 2 ways, there were 2 3-way boxes. And I mean, the entrances are, see, if a box is 16 1/8 wide, you know, they're like 8 inches apart. And then there's an entrance on the back, and and the bees didn't care. And so I thought, oh my gosh, you know, one day we went out and made, I don't know, 300 and some splits with Chris. And we went back the next day and dropped cells, and they were all so close, and there were just old wax dip boxes. There was no color, there was no shape, there was no anything. And I thought, that's pretty handy to not have to do all that stuff. So even if your take rate is 10% less than painting or numbering or doing all the things, I guess you just have to figure out what works for you. And there's nothing to say, hey, this is totally possible. If a Caucasian queen has a longer proboscis, and if Caucasians are racist enough that they won't take an Italian VSH queen because they know something is different or off about that queen, who's not to say that these different strains of bees may have some different variances on how they GPS locate or how they recognize all of this stuff too. That is all possible, but knowing what your bees are doing with what your setup's the most important thing, more so than knowing what somebody else is doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're saying for time
Right,
management
some
and your
genetics drift a lot more than others.
Yeah, true.
So you're saying for your operation and time management, it makes more sense to take a small percentage of less success because you're saving X amount of time because you're trying to produce 1,500 to 2,000 queens a year, right? But
Yeah.
let me ask you this. If I'm going to turn it around on, say, a small scale operator, let's say he's got 50 colonies and he has a little bit more time, would you think that it is more possible for him to maybe try a different color, shape, or something like that, or space the colonies out more where he doesn't have to use a two-way pallet or a four-way pallet? Would you think that his success of the queens that come back to the correct colonies would then increase enough to make it worth his while?
Yeah, it is my just personal opinion that I don't know that color or that has as much to do with it as the distance. If you weren't needing to raise gobs and gobs of queens, the one of the big reasons you do that is for equipment efficiency too. So you can pick stuff up, you can move it, and you can get a lot more turn out of the same area. But if I only needed to raise 20 or 30 or 50 queens, how I would be doing it would just be an individual five frame nuke boxes, deeps, right? And I would be setting those up. And I would probably be, if I was needing that for my own operation, I would probably be splitting it and dropping cells in those, and that would be the single that would grow out anyway. So there wouldn't be a need to constantly recharge that system and pull a queen and drop a cell, pull a queen and drop a cell. But even let's say someone was wanting to, for fun, raise and sell 5 queens a week or 10 queens a week, I would be doing it in 5 frame nuke boxes all day long. And I personally wouldn't be going through the aggravation of like the color and the numbers. I would just be making sure they were spread out some. Just keep them. If you keep them one box width apart, and we did this for a long time, just one box width apart, and then just switch the orientation. So you got to entrance this way, and then the next box over, it's going that way, and then just rotate that, and you can have those just enough space to put another box in between, and that seemed to work out well. But I don't know. That's just my. What about you, Tom? Sounds like you maybe have a different experience with color and orientation.
First of all, I'll say that I don't use pallets. I haven't gotten to that point, but it is likely that I'll be experimenting with some two-way pallets this year in one specific yard.
Nice.
And we'll probably use migratory lids. You and I spoke a little bit about this.
Oh, right.
And I'll use some bucket feeders on top of those. So I'd manage those a little bit differently. Obviously, when you get to that point, stuff gets moved with the machine, doesn't get moved by hand any longer. So that changes the dynamic a little bit. But so my experience and what I've done in the past, and we've worked with a lot of virgin queens, particularly coming from Corey Stevens. What I would do is exactly what you had mentioned there with a 5 frame wooden nuke box. And we would make the splits and then introduce the virgin queens in there after about the 6th or 7th day. So I've basically aged out every possible young larvae in there that they cannot make a queen. So basically, in short, is I kind of mimic the mother nature where I age out anything. They can't make a queen cell, so they have to accept a virgin because, I know people talk about virgins being they're a little more difficult to get acceptance on. And I don't disagree with that. But if I wait, like they said, that 6 or 7 day, tear down any cells and then introduce that virgin in there, my take goes up to 75, 80%. And if it's not middle of summer and I don't have a mess of dragonflies and other predators out there, I can still get that. Now,
barn swallows,
that's exactly right. If I've gotten to mid-season, it goes down a little bit, probably lack of nectar, acceptance, just goes down. So that's my experience with it. But again, I can take those wooden nukes and I can set them out after I make the splits. I can set them out in the field and I just turn them whichever way I want and throw pellets out there. And so there's different earmarks or different markers out there in the area showing they can kind of hone in on those specific areas. So for me, that's worked, but I'm not operating at nearly the scale that you guys are.
Well, I mean, I think I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it ideally. You get out into Georgia or the Carolinas, where you've got nuke yards where there's 6,000 or 7,000 individual colonies raised just for queens. You get to a certain, so what we know as small scale beekeepers, whether you have 2 colonies or 200, a lot of what we know and the opportunities that we have for equipment and all of that availability is 100% based on the shoulders and the availability that commercial beekeeping has brought to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, some of that, we get some ideas that trickle down and we don't understand why, and then we go back and forth. But a lot of the let's say the geotagging or the geolocating of fixtures or textures in a queen yard, when these guys are getting 7,000 and 10,000 queen mating nukes in a yard, they 100% lean on, especially when you get down into the areas where the slash pine areas where the pines are stripped off and then they're replanted. Those are beautiful areas for queens, and they do use all those little individual trees, and they will set up right in those yards because they have to have that texture. Otherwise, there's 7,000 opportunities for a queen to come back, and even color, and they've got to have something. So at my scale, if we only have 200 or 300 in each queen yard, like that's not the same as having thousands of colonies. So the texture and the GPS locating, that comes into play significantly at large scale. So that totally translates down, even if you want to do 10 mating nukes. But at some point, there's is it worth the effort and to do all that? There's a certain point where the scale meets that demand and need, and then everything you think totally gets ran over by a trash truck. When you've got things that you never knew bees do, and I've got a video. It'll come out at some point whenever I can get around to it. But bees are 100%. This is a little spoiler alert. Bees are 100% racist. 100%. We did a trial. I raised 100 of our own stock virgins, and we brought in years ago now Corey's VSH Italians, and I made all the splits all from my own stock, all the same way, right? And with the old school hopelessly queenless, it was all out of the same stock, right? Our Caucasian carnies absolutely annihilated those Italian VSH. They murdered them relentlessly. We had an 80% take rate with the virgins that we made. It was no problem, but they knew something was different and something was off with that Italian line, and they murdered with zero prejudice. They were the ones that they would let live. They would let live long enough to make a couple eggs, and then they would crush them, and then they would supersede it. So the reason I say that, it has nothing to do with Corey or what he's doing, but that's a little known fact that bees, when you're crossing genetic lines like that, you can't just go mixing all these things up. And that's probably why he's had a really hard time getting that VSH attribute to set into dark bees, because he started off with it being the lighter Italian genetic line to start with. So we thought we had that fixed into our genetic lines, and then that's a whole other story for a different day, and on and on and on. But that's the fun thing about bees. We know nothing in the grand scheme of things, and they will teach us things the hard way. And that was one of them that I thought, what in the world's going on? But how cool is that to see that bees can sense that difference in a genetic type, and then just murder with no disregard, no respecter at all.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And the first time that I heard that was, I believe it may have been at our conference, or I heard you talk about that. Maybe it was one of your live chats, I forget, but it was more recently, maybe within the last couple of months. I heard you say that, and I'm like, I never actually thought about that, but most of the stock that I run is more Italian-ish, so I've never really had an issue with that.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll probably be fine with Corey stuff. Yeah.
It might also have something to do with the Missouri bees don't like the Ohio bees. I'm not sure.
No, it'd be the Ohio bees don't like the Missouri bees, I guess.
I got you.
I second that, Greg.
Gotcha.
JW, you're going to say something there.
No, I can't get in between you two.
Come on, let's hear it, old man.
I can't hear you.
I can answer the question why they wouldn't accept him.
Why is that?
Here it goes.
Side of the river. Corey's on the dirty side of the river.
See?
Dirty
Case
side.
in point.
Here,
The clean side, Them cleanup bees are going. Them clean side bees are going to kill them dirty rat and stinker rats.
I'm feeling a little prejudice come out in this conversation right now, honestly.
I love that.
Any
Greg,
any of
I
y'all
think
got an
so, man.
opinion on this question that's here?
Just throwing it out there about bottom boards. I live on Vancouver Island, so very cool and very wet. I am making concrete bottom boards. Am I wasting my time, or am I making permanent bottom boards? Well, concrete breathes and moves and passes moisture through capillary action. So you're not going to stop moisture from moving out. If anything, you may be creating the concrete stuff is I think operated tremendously in extreme heat and dry areas. But if you're already wet and you're already cool, my thoughts would be you add concrete, you're going to add a cold sink in the spot where cold sinks, which is also going to condense, and it will create moisture. That's what do you guys think?
I'd make a suggestion. If it were me, I needed to make some bottom boards. I'd make them out of fiberglass, and you can buy 4 by 8 sheets of fiberglass sheeting. I used to do it on my boats, for flooring on boats.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, that's what I would suggest. Make your bottom boards out of fiberglass if he's having moisture.
Find somebody who wax dips and get it fully sealed off inside and out, or find some HDO that you keep the edges well painted.
Yeah.
That'd work too.
Definitely.
I'd do that over concrete if it were me, but that's just an opinion. I've never done it, but
Joey, you're probably in the dampest, muggiest region. All of us on here. What would you do in that scenario?
Well, I have seen people take like a carport to a house and close them in and try to make a room out of it. And when they air condition that thing, it sweats.
Mm-hmm.
Sweat or pull up because you actually put a barrier under a slab when you're doing a house.
Right.
Where a carport, you don't normally do it. And I have actually seen people have trouble with floors sweating.
Yep.
Couldn't keep tile on it or anything.
Yep.
Capillary action. It'll pull moisture through and through, in and out. Yep.
Yeah. Like I said, you don't know what life's like till you walk in the other man's shoes. But I'm not familiar with. I know that's that's actually called a temperate rainforest around Vancouver Island up there, I think. So
I had another one starred here somewhere.
Was it the one from Todd at 8:58? He's asking Greg a question. It's actually a good question.
Uh-oh. I heard that Melissa's starting to throw dishes.
No, actually with my sister. It's her house. She can break them if she wants to. No, don't throw it at me. I've been good.
Okay.
Now, let me just say, this is my sister used to torment me whenever we were young.
Oh, let's
go. Hey, come over here. Let him see you. Who's
shot collars, dishes being thrown.
Yeah. Oh, you're good.
You're all here, Greg.
He's a good Christian fellow.
Tom's here.
Say again.
This is my sister who used to torment me when we were younger.
Nice job.
Hey.
Keep the dishes coming. Keep slinging them.
Yeah.
He's telling you stories though, because he's the one that was the tormentor.
It's a true story, okay?
Instigator, for sure.
Well,
yeah, it's my version, okay?
She looks much better than you do.
Oh, look at that's nice.
Aladdin.
you need a face mask for him. What you need? Or a muzzle.
Now he looks like Thomas, and I can see you with curls and the little hat back there.
That's
You look great.
Yeah, you got it. That's exactly it. Yeah, it's a great.
Greg, you got a question there.
Say again.
That's JW. He's got a mouth on him.
Okay. Todd says, Greg, the other night on your show, you mentioned you had an opinion on what is the cause of all this bee loss. Can you expand on that here tonight? I would hijack the rest of this thing. Here's what I'll say right now. It is not a singular root cause. I think that we're seeing a lot of different stressors that are the catalyst. And I think that there's a couple different. One thing that I greatly suspect, and I hope I am really just dead wrong on it, but I don't think that I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm just totally gonna get in trouble.
Uh-oh.
My heart keeps getting tugged in a certain direction each time I have this conversation with people from all over the country, and a similar theme kind of keeps coming up. I've had this conversation with folks now for 3 years because of something that I feel like I have been seeing that I never heard anybody talk about. You guys have already heard me talk about it, so I don't need to go down that road. But I think it is very possible that we are seeing some new variants and virus strains that are occurring, even in very, very low mite populations that can be causing some catastrophic effects on bees, which may explain why we're seeing groupings of this happen. That's one thing. But I've started to map out this bee loss, and it is unbelievable. What I'm seeing is actually seeing a pattern where there are these rainbow bands starting from Orlando, moving up with a lost band, and then there's like a safe zone, which is another band. And you go up, and there's a death band, and then there's a safe zone, and all those things were following all this extreme weather, one way or the other. So I do think that in some parts of the country, it is nutrition related, was a very heavy stressor. And then it went from bad to worse with extreme weather, where that was extreme wet or very extreme cold. I think it all comes down to, in my neck of the woods, and with the folks, especially like we had 4 or 5 people that came into the shop today. They were just checking in, telling me about their bee experience, what they're seeing, the losses, the wins. And it's almost eerie. It's like carbon copy, no matter where they're at. Some of the same things are kind of going on. I'm talking in circles, Todd, because I don't want to say what it is that I'm feeling that it is, but it seems as though, yes, you've got folks on the other side of the country, west of the Rockies, that may be dealing with something different, or is it? What is one thing that we all can be? Okay, let's talk just quickly. One virus that is going to affect all the honeybees from coast to coast. What is one of them? Like deformed wing virus, right? It can affect no matter where they're at in this country. The deformed wing virus can affect the honeybees. So if we know that there is at least one virus strain that can affect the bees from coast to coast, it's not out of the question to think that there could be a new variant of a virus that we don't know anything about that can also be affecting the bees, that doesn't show all the same symptoms that we're used to showing. I don't know where I learned this from. Somebody way smarter than me, but nobody talks about it. And I didn't know this. There's a lot of things that I don't know. But did you know that you can have deformed wing virus be intense, very, very heavy inside of a colony and never see a deformed wing? The deformed wing is just a symptom of the virus, and you have all these other things that are going on, right? But if you don't see the singed or shriveled up wings, you may think, well, it's not deformed wing. No, that is just a symptom of the virus, and here's all these other things that also go hand in hand. That maybe there is, maybe I think that maybe there's a new virus that is existing even in very, very small mite populations. A lot of the folks that I talked to, they were completely squared away on mites. Almost couldn't believe how low the mite counts were going into early fall. So I'm thinking, okay, well, if it's viruses, I mean, it would have to be an extreme virus transmitted by very low mite populations. Is there something else going on? Are the mites themselves adapting and changing? So I think you've got weather stressors that are paying a huge impact on a lot of the country. I think that there is definitely, it's likely that there is some sort of a virus mutation or something we don't know about all of that yet. I'm going to stop, because no matter what we think or what we pontificate on or grandstand on, we still don't know anything about CCD other than Nosema cerani. It seems to be something that can lead to CCD. And that's about the extent of millions of dollars and decades of studies. That gets us nowhere.
This is what I call it, and I leave it alone.
HBGR.
Honeybee genetic reset.
Could be. There's no reason why that can't be. But here's, guys, I'll say this. And so when Tom, you see, you jokers wrote me in here. What I was actually doing was burning the midnight lamp, because I've got this like steadfast rule where we do no work on Sundays.
Uh-oh.
Now, the line gets blurry is I'll work clear up to 11:59 and then call it. And so I was supposed to be getting a bunch of stuff done tonight, but I thought I'll turn these knuckleheads on. I'll just listen to them in the background. That I was an hour ago. Anyway, so let me say this: I have 1 yard. Well, I had 1 yard where I had we were into the F4 and maybe even F5 of whatever was left from the VSH attributes that we finally got to stick. We had those. We had Caucasians. We had Carney Italians, and I also had a line of Italians, all in the same yard. All of them dead. What we're seeing goes way past specific genetics. It goes beyond a lot of what we are thinking and knowing. So I don't know. Is it a grand reset? I totally believe that happens. But genetically speaking, I'm looking at an opportunity where there was several different genetic lines here, and none of them were safe. They all got totally wiped out. So when you have a situation where they had all the bees had honey, all of the mite counts were extremely low, right? And we've got different genetic types, and it's all affecting all of that. I mean, it makes you really scratch your head. But anyways, I'm going to stop there because I'll just keep going, and then I'll get fired up, and then I'll never stop. And this is your guys' show, not mine, so I'm not going to do that.
This is good food for thought.
We'll ever know,
Nonetheless,
Greg, tell you the truth. I don't think the scientists will never figure it out.
No. I'm going to drop this one little tiny thing in there, and then I know I said I was going to shut up, but JW knows me better than that. I'm going to admit that I'm going to be speaking very ignorantly right now, and I will admit that. So this could be 100% false, right? I've not spent years researching this to be able to speak at an expert level. Okay. But from what I do understand is that there has been some pretty intense changes in some of the pesticides that were used coast to coast that are new and different from some that have been used historically. Now, if that were to be the case, then we would have to have all these occurring coast to coast, and that's not the case. There are different formulations and products and things that are used regionally that may not. But what if there is some kind of commonality that we aren't aware of yet? Do you guys really think that if it was something on that greater scale that we're ever going to find out that it's due to this very specific thing? I'm kind of a conspiracy nut. I don't think so. I don't think we're ever going to know. But I like what JW said. I like everything JW says because he's forgotten more than we're ever going to know. And he hates it when I pat him on the back like that.
he does.
But that man is extremely wise. We should probably stop talking so we can listen to what he has to say. He's hiding out. There he is.
I thought he fell
But
off the chair.
I've got one more video to put out where it's gut reactions from all you guys from the EMBA, and the thing that he said that I think does ring true. It rings true with all livestock. If you overstock an area, if your carrying capacity is if you tighten all of that up and you put too many critters in the same spot for too long, very bad things happen, and you will have extreme die-off. That could be too. That could be, but there are all these little wild card things that are so super weird. 1.1 miles away from here, our friend Steve and Jane, who run my genetic line, they're like a 90% success rate. They feed the same, they treat the same. They're 1.1 miles away. It's all of our queens. You know what their big difference was versus mine? They had a beautiful western windbreak. That is the only difference. So is it as simple and stupid and not conspiracy based as just Arctic cold blast for too long with no windbreaks? Could be. But I think there's a lot of things going on. There could be genetic resets, oversaturation of genetics in certain areas, poor nutrition, extremely harsh weather, whether it was cold Arctic blasts creating minus 29 Fahrenheit, where all of a sudden Ohio beekeepers are now northern Canadian beekeepers overwintering outside. I think there's a lot of things going on. I'm going to stop because I'm never going to shut up. And thanks, JW.
In fact, I'm going to hop off, guys. It's past my bedtime now.
I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for letting me hijack and just vent here, guys.
I'm looking at Jeremy's here. It's a little bit too widespread to be a nectar source, wouldn't you think?
What do we know about plants if they go into stress mode? What I saw this year is nothing touched the goldenrod pollen. Nothing. It completely left it all alone. Why was that? The goldenrod wasn't healthy enough to produce nectar. It barely tried to go into survival mode to create the pollen. What was the quality of that pollen? And was it damaging at all? I don't know. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
I know I never had trouble with jasmine. All right. I never had trouble with jasmine till this year. And when our little nectar flow we had kind of shut down, jasmine was the only thing blooming out there. And I had bees, dead bees out in front several days, more than just my winter bees dying off. It's kind of slowed down now.
Is that a Flower Street Farm hat?
Yes, sir.
That's cool. I see that. Nice.
Everybody's got one but me.
Unbelievable. Well, why is
this
this man of the bunch doesn't even have a Flower Street Farm hat? Unbelievable.
He's like the redheaded stepchild.
Well,
Brian said he has one.
Well, if I did, I forgot it, lost it.
oh, it's there with his keys, laying in a parking lot somewhere.
It may be where my keys are.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Whoever found them might have kept the hat.
That's probably the case.
This is true. Maybe I could find one for JW when I head to Colorado Springs in 2 weeks. Maybe I could get a hold of one.
No, I'm just kidding him.
Brian, just hang on to it. I'll get it from you in 2 weeks.
Brian's such a good dude. Boy, I really enjoyed it's why am I still talking? I'm supposed to be off here. I'll say Brian is a good dude. You guys are all great. And when you get to meet somebody in person and shake their hand, look them in the eye, break bread, have those personal conversations, man, there is just nothing like it. Absolutely nothing like it.
He made me madder than I ever been. He kept me up till 3 o'clock one morning.
That was on one of my chats, wasn't it?
No, it was out there. On the dirty side out there in St. Louis.
Look at that, Bruce. Hey, I'll jump off. Bruce can jump in there, and he can. You guys just have a marathon. You guys just keep going. Anyways, Tom, you wrote me in here. I don't have my own bobblehead. None of that kind of stuff. I'm sorry. I'm just Greg Burns. Not anything fancy or special.
I'll give him credit for that. That was me that made that connection.
Was it? Look, see, yeah, but see, you set it up to make it look like it was Tom. See, that's why this guy's smart.
He's smarter than me. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Get it.
Guys, hope you have a good night. Hope you have a great Sunday, and we'll catch you guys later.
Thank you. Good
night, gentlemen.
See ya. And then there was 3.
Yep. Well, Bruce could come in.
Jasmine and Basin. I don't know, but I don't know. If anybody else does, I'm not sure.
What you looking at?
I don't think yellow jasmine is an invasive species, is it?
Oh,
do you know down there?
I have to look it up again. I don't know if it's yellow or Carolina or what it is.
That's the nectar that kills off the young brood, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, yellow jasmine will. Joey, do you guys have mayhaw over there around you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's my favorite jelly.
Mama just gave me a jar of jelly yesterday.
That's my favorite. That's what I was just saying. Yeah. I miss that up here.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to deal with that here in Missouri. I've never seen it here. I don't think the plant exists. I think JW, we talked about that the other night, and you mentioned that you've never seen it in your area as well.
No.
Yeah, I'm not disappointed about that.
Wow, Dennis.
Yeah, sounds like that's
he's down there around. I think he's down there around Dothan, and then Dennis Sherrill. Do you know Joey?
Who that?
Bruce?
I'm reading. So.
Dennis Sherrill. It's at the bottom, 920.
Oh. In Alabama.
Yeah, but I think he's down there around Dothan area, but I may be wrong. I'm
not sure.
Well, look at there. Brian, come on here.
The weather around us, Brian.
I tried to get on when Greg was going, but I didn't make it, obviously.
Well, Joey ain't near smart on this computer stuff. Is what I am. He probably had you blocked off of there.
Hey, now you know he's trying to stir up trouble, right? That's what he does.
Yeah, he's got a big stir stick.
Yes, he does. It's even bigger than mine, honestly. You know, I thought I had it made, but he's better at it than I am.
Oh well. What's that quote from Roosevelt, or not Roosevelt? It was something. I carry a big stick. Remember? Who was it?
Oh yeah. Speak softly, Roosevelt, Teddy. Speak softly, but
carry a big stick. Yeah. That's JW.
Bruce said his experience with the yellow jasmine was a little bit different.
Okay.
I've never experienced it, so I couldn't.
Bruce said
I've never had issues with it this year. That was the first time.
Did you notice some effects in the colonies from it?
Well, yeah. No, I wasn't just seeing brood dying. I was seeing like young bees coming out dying.
You know,
Mike has a little trouble with it almost every year in one of his certain yards because he's got a heavy population of the jasmine.
Forgot my lid.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go. You know, someone was mentioning goldenrod pollen. Maybe I know Greg was saying like, maybe it was bad, or somebody was saying maybe it's bad. And maybe that poor nutrition was the one that was, knocking down bees. We don't have goldenrod in California. Yeah. I mean, very, very few spots. So I don't know. But I do agree with him about the viruses evolving. There's a new virus, or one that we already know about that's, reintroduced itself in a bigger and badder way. So I don't know.
See what Brian said there, Todd?
That's good. Yeah, I went out there today. I didn't see any ants. I've got them under control right now. I weed whacked around the outside of that weed barrier, so they won't be able to reach the weeds won't be able to reach the pallets for a little while. So I'm safe for now.
Well, we lost our chief, long story long guy, and I don't know what to say.
Todd got himself.
I come on here and everything
everything dried up all of a sudden.
It's late. We're all getting tired now.
Starting to think it's me. But tired. It's only 7:30.
Yeah, for you, we're not in California.
The sun is it's getting dark out there now.
It's dark here.
After that little storm, the sun finally popped out.
And it did here just about dark.
It was getting a pretty sunset, and then the fog rolled in.
Hmm. Is it getting hot down there now, Joey?
Hot?
Hot, yeah.
It hadn't been too bad lately.
Yeah.
Oh, those muggy days are coming though.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be high here at 40. It was 81 yesterday. We're 58 right now. It's supposed to fall all night and be a high here of 81 tomorrow and a low of 28.
We've been having a pretty decent humidity. It's been low, around the 30s, 40s.
Wow. People out here wouldn't know what to do with that.
Huh.
I mean, high is 15%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Get in there, buddy. Well, I'll give you the sign.
Yeah. JW wants to give him a list of the finger.
No, that's his. I guess nephew. Is that a nephew, Tom?
That's his nephew. Oh.
I'm guessing. Is that the nephew, Tom?
No, that's my little niece.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's
Her name, yeah, I was trying to
see her.
She's bashful. She didn't want to come over and say hi. Olive, come here.
Couldn't see her head.
You have to say hi to them very quickly. Yeah. She's my little niece.
Bruce. We'll be giving you the good word as best we can. Got to consider the source in my case, so I don't have quite as much stroke with that guy upstairs as some of you may have, probably.
Oh, he's still got some weather coming to him.
Yeah. It's supposed to go raining here again in about an hour or two. Mild weather forecast is saying.
It's supposed to pour here on Monday. We're having a pretty good March for rainwater, so that's good.
Looks like it's actually just finishing raining in St. Louis. I didn't even realize it was supposed to.
Yeah, it's sprinkled a little bit here, but I think most of it's coming up from the south. I don't think it's coming much from St. Louis, to our area anyway.
So apparently my electric came back on at my house here a couple hours ago. I can't believe it was on. I figured it'd be out for at least 3 or 4 days. So I'm thankful for that. So
What was the did anyone watch, Todd, did you watch any of the Cayman's post or live?
The live? No.
No, I didn't know if anybody watched any of the vaccine information or not.
No. I know a lot of people, they want to say that vaccine has something to do with all of this going on, but I don't think so. And earlier you guys were talking like who here has seen AFB? Well, and I commented, I've only seen it in a book. I really don't know why they came out with that drug. I don't know what I don't know what's called vaccine.
mm-hmm.
What was the purpose? It's not like it's not a regular occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
Well, tetracycline, isn't it? Tetracycline was supposed to be a cure for it.
I think so.
Yeah.
That or fire. But I mean, it's not like there's thousands and thousands of cases each year, or even hundreds. There's less than 100, I bet. So
my only thought would be, have they been working on this for a couple of decades and they finally just reached the pinnacle of it? I don't know. What's the question?
They cracked the code finally. Yeah,
Who knows, right?
I don't know, but they spent a lot of money on it if they did studies.
Well, I'm sure they did.
So, and it has to get approved, and that takes time through, the vaccine would be FDA. So that was probably a couple, 2, 3, 4 years.
I don't know.
You guys don't stop talking on my account. I was just here to listen.
I was going to ask Bruce how many hives he split today. I can do about 20 and I'm done.
Yeah.
I didn't know American foul brood is big everywhere else. I mean, that could make sense because we do monitor for that probably better than other areas, but who knows?
Well, I've never seen any, or don't know anybody that's ever seen any. In the American foul brood, I seen some. My dad had a little case of it. That's been 35, 40 years ago. I
Yeah,
seen some European,
yeah,
but I've never seen any American. But if Illinois got a law, they'll come in. Inspectors come in, they'll burn you all your hives and everything involved. So
yeah.
Yeah.
don't want that stuff. That European stuff, you can smell. You can stick a toothpick down in it and smell it for 2 miles.
Mhm. I had a little round of that a couple years ago,
Yeah.
but it went away on its own.
Yeah.
As soon as it warmed up, it disappeared.
If your hives are standing, a little bleach water, just sprinkling, with that was the old time cure.
Hmm.
Was just hand spray pump, those sprayers, spritz them with the bleach water. What they
Yeah.
was the old timers treatment out here in this part of the country.
Hmm. Yeah.
If you want Google's answer, they've been studying it for over a century, but particularly the last 2 decades,
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'm not reading an article. I'm reading the.
I knew
AI version.
I think that he'd be a good one. You can bet on that.
He picks on me every time I do it. He'll spit out some nonsense, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And I'm like, give me a second here. Even if I prove him wrong, he still doesn't pay attention to it.
I keep telling him most of that Google stuff I wrote anyway. He just preaching to the choir.
He's probably not lying about that, actually. That one I actually believe a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I am lying about that for sure.
Okay.
Well, y'all, we've been going 2 hours and 32 minutes. So I need to start coming in a little bit earlier.
I had to cook tonight,
Oh,
and then I took a shower.
that's starting to some of that food to us.
JW, I didn't eat in front of you in St. Louis or nothing, and now you grouped me up with Tom here.
You're welcome. It's Melissa's fault.
Look at this. Look at this. Wise men think alike. Look at this.
I'll tell you what.
I got nothing.
You got Pringles.
I got nothing.
Next stuff.
I have nothing.
I got coffee.
I got a back scratcher. How about that?
Coffee.
There you
I got a
go.
back scratcher.
Yeah, those are a must-have, right? They're a must-have.
Jeez.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I appreciate everybody coming in the chat.
Very much so, folks. Enjoyed visiting with y'all.
Did you get some tips, JW, so you know how to run the StreamYard?
Joy enlightened me a little. I think I got it figured out. Maybe I can.
I told him after the fact, I figured out what was happening when he was copying it.
Yeah.
He was clicking to paste it over in the chat side, but he wasn't left clicking to click on the chat. You got to left click first and then hit right click paste. And he wasn't doing that.
That one time, you wasn't watching it, I don't think, Joy, but that one time when I did, when it showed up over there, it must have been 200 of them.
Yeah, it went on and on and on.
I didn't see that part.
It was a half a sheet of page.
I watched it after the fact.
Yeah.
I thought he had to put it into YouTube. I didn't know he had to put it into StreamYard.
Yeah, well, you can. I usually paste it in the StreamYard and then go to
I
YouTube.
had all kinds of advice, and it was all dumber than me. If they just no.
Melissa was trying to tell him, he just wouldn't listen. That's the difference. Right?
I needed all the help I could get. I was to the point of being frustrated and confused and totally aggravated.
It was a fun time. People enjoyed it, and it was a learning experience.
I think everybody had fun.
I think so,
Yeah,
too.
that was fun.
I just wasn't invited. That's all.
Oh man, whew, there it is, right there.
You
just got
probably
thick.
watching your mentor, David Burns, probably.
Now he's just going to get mean on us, Joey. You better
Yeah,
call
you
it. You better call this thing.
Yeah, all right. Pull the plug.
I don't think Chris is in here, but I appreciate the super chat there, Chris. Good night, everybody. See
Good
y'all
night,
later.
y'all. Good seeing y'all.
Later.